What could shatter the tranquil morning of the Villages, a residential neighborhood in Tupelo, Mississippi, with an unthinkable crime? With a history of instability and erratic behavior, the killer becomes the focal point of curiosity and outrage. This case is not just a story of a crime, but also a psychological mystery driving investigators and the community to seek answers about the motive and factors that led to this unforgivable act. To uncover the details, let's dive into the case and investigate the truth together. And don't forget to like and subscribe to ensure you don't miss any new true crime stories. At approximately 10:45 a.m. on April 29, 2025, an emergency call was routed to the Tupelo, Mississippi Police Department's hotline. The caller, believed to be a distant relative of the Lazore family, expressed concern about being unable to contact Mrs. Sherri West Lazore, a resident of the Villages on Coley Road. The call requested a welfare check, a routine procedure when there are signs of concern for an individual's safety. The dispatcher noted the urgency in the caller's voice, who stated that Sherri had not answered calls or messages for over 48 hours, unusual for someone known for being punctual and regularly in touch with family. A patrol unit from the Tupelo Police Department was dispatched to 1234 Coley Road, a two-story home in the Villages, a neighborhood known for its neatly manicured lawns and serene atmosphere. Two officers, Officer Emily Harper and Officer Michael Tate, arrived at the scene at 11:05 a.m. They knocked on the front door, and after a few minutes, a young man later identified as Joshua D. Lazore opened it. Joshua, with a quiet demeanor and downcast eyes, asked the officers the reason for their visit. When informed about the welfare check for Mrs. Sherri, he briefly stated that his mother was not here and suggested the officers check the surrounding area. The vagueness of Joshua's response raised suspicions for Officer Harper. Instead of leaving, she requested to inspect the interior of the house to confirm Mrs. Sherri's safety. Joshua, though hesitant, agreed, but led the officers to the back of the house through a stone-paved path to the backyard. As they approached a secluded corner near the fence, Officer Tate noticed a large plastic trash bin typically used for household waste, positioned oddly compared to the others. An unusual foul odor emanated from the bin, causing both officers to pause. Officer Harper instructed Joshua to stay back and proceeded to inspect the trash bin. Upon lifting the lid, she was horrified to discover a human body inside with the head and shoulders visible carelessly stuffed within. Identifying features including clothing and silver hair immediately suggested it was an elderly woman, likely Mrs. Sherri West Lazore. The body bore multiple open wounds with dried blood pooled around the head, indicating the victim had been violently attacked before death. Officer Tate immediately radioed for backup, requesting the criminal investigation team and coroner to respond to the scene. While waiting for backup, the officers secured the area around the trash bin to prevent evidence contamination. Joshua was asked to stand away from the scene, and he complied without resistance. Officer Harper noted that Joshua showed no signs of panic or attempts to explain the situation, which heightened suspicions about his involvement. The criminal investigation team, led by Detective Amanda Ruiz, arrived at the scene at 11:35 a.m., accompanied by Lee County Coroner Evelyn Carter. Carter conducted a preliminary examination of the body on site. She estimated, or Carter confirmed, the victim had been dead for approximately 24 to 36 hours based on rigor mortis and body temperature. The wounds on the body, primarily to the head, suggested the victim was struck with a heavy object, possibly metal. Several deep lacerations around the neck were also noted, indicating the potential use of a sharp weapon. The body was transported to the Lee County Coroner's Office for a detailed autopsy, but preliminary identification was confirmed through personal documents found in the house, including Sherri West Lazore's driver's license. Detectives began searching the house and backyard. They discovered dried bloodstains on the grass near the trash bin, extending to a corner of the yard where a patch of disturbed soil was found. A nearby shovel, showing recent use with dirt and reddish liquid on its blade, was collected as potential evidence, along with soil and blood samples for forensic analysis. The surrounding Villages community gathered near the scene, drawn by the presence of police cars and an ambulance. Some neighbors, briefly interviewed by officers, expressed shock and reported hearing no unusual noises in the past few days. One neighbor, Linda Thompson, mentioned seeing Joshua walking in the backyard on the evening of April 27th, but thought nothing of it as he often did yard work. The discovery of Sherri West Lazore's body marked the first step in a case that would soon shock Tupelo. Detectives, noting Joshua's unusual behavior and the evidence at the scene, began forming a hypothesis that this was a deliberate homicide with Joshua as the primary suspect. However, they needed more information to solidify the case before pressing formal charges. Sherri West Lazore, 62, was a familiar figure in Tupelo's education community. Born in 1963 in Corinth, Mississippi, she moved to Tupelo in the 1970s to attend the University of Mississippi, where she earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education. After graduating, she joined the Tupelo Public School District in 1985, beginning her career at Rankin Elementary School. For nearly 3 decades, she taught reading and math to students from 1st to 5th grade, known for her innovative teaching methods and patience. Sherri initiated several extracurricular programs, including an after-school reading club that helped struggling students improve their literacy skills. Featherweight colleagues at Rankin remembered her as someone who always brought positive energy, often organizing student birthday celebrations and decorating her classroom with colorful artwork. After retiring in 2012, she continued contributing to the community through volunteer work, including supporting the Tupelo Public Library and donating books for underprivileged children. Sherri lived alone with her son Joshua at their village's home since 2005, following her husband's death from cancer. She was an avid gardener, tending to her rose garden in the backyard, and an active member of the Tupelo Garden Club. Records from the Lee County Coroner's Office confirm she had no history of serious illness or conflicts, making her death all the more perplexing. Joshua Daniel Lazore, 30, was Sherri's only child. Born in 1995 in Tupelo, he grew up under his mother's care, who tried to compensate for his father's absence after his death. Joshua attended Tupelo High School, but dropped out in 11th grade, never earning a diploma. Public records show he lacked steady employment, relied on his mother financially, and occasionally took odd jobs like mowing lawns or cleaning yards for neighbors. Joshua had prior legal issues, most notably an incident in April 2020 when he was arrested for vandalizing the lobby of the Lee County Sheriff's Office. According to authorities, Joshua entered the lobby attempting to turn himself in. Deputies informed him there were no active warrants and asked him to leave. Hours later, authorities said he returned, this time throwing a chair at 2 televisions and smashing a computer onto the floor. He was charged with felony property destruction and sentenced to probation. Neighbors described Joshua as quiet and reserved, often avoiding social interaction. Some recalled seeing him walking around the neighborhood at night, occasionally muttering to himself, but no one reported prior violent behavior. Records from the Lee County Probation Office indicate Joshua completed his probation from the 2020 incident without violations, though probation officers noted his tendency to isolate and difficulty expressing emotions. Joshua's identity was confirmed through identification found in the house and his own acknowledgement when meeting police. His behavior on the day of the incident, including opening the door for officers and showing no emotional reaction when his mother's body was discovered immediately, made investigators consider him the primary suspect. The pursuit of the perpetrator in this case was almost immediate, as Joshua D. Lazore was present at the scene when police arrived. After discovering Sherri's body in the trash bin, officers Emily Harper and Michael Tate instructed Joshua to remain in the front yard while they contacted Detective Amanda Ruiz and the criminal investigation team. Joshua showed no resistance or attempt to flee, standing silently near the fence observing the officers' actions. Detective Ruiz, arriving at the scene at 11:35 a.m. on April 29, 2025, began a brief on-site interview with Joshua. She asked when he last saw his mother and why he led police to the backyard. Joshua responded that he thought his mother might be out there, but provided no further details. The inconsistency in his answers, coupled with his emotionless demeanor, prompted Detective Ruiz to bring him to the station for formal questioning. Joshua was handcuffed and transported to a patrol car at 12:15 p.m. for investigative detention. At the Tupelo Police Department, he was placed in an interrogation room and read his Miranda rights by Detective Ruiz and her colleague, Detective James Carter. Joshua agreed to speak without a lawyer, a decision documented in writing. During the 3-hour interrogation, Joshua initially admitted to causing his mother's death. He described the incident as an escalating argument. He and Sherri had argued in the living room. Joshua did not clearly disclose the argument's content, but said it caused him to lose control. He recounted that after the argument, Sherri left the living room for the backyard, and he followed carrying a shovel from the shed. Joshua confessed to striking his mother from behind, targeting her head, and continuing the attack after she fell. He made no mention of using any other weapon, such as the pruning shears, later found. After causing the death of Sherri West Lazore, Joshua D. Lazore attempted to conceal his mother's body in a backyard trash bin. This act was carried out hastily and without planning, reflecting his impulsiveness following the attack. According to the criminal investigation team's report, Joshua dragged Sherri's body from the area near the shed where the attack occurred to the trash bin approximately 10 meters away. Drag marks on the grass and soil indicated he moved the body by hand without using any tools. The trash bin, a dark green plastic container, was positioned near the fence, and Joshua lifted the lid to place the body inside. Due to the body's size, he could not fully fit it, leaving the shoulders and head exposed. Detectives noted no signs that Joshua attempted to thoroughly conceal the body, such as wrapping it in trash bags or covering it with materials. This suggested he may have acted in a state of panic or was indifferent to being discovered. A notable detail was that Joshua left the bloodied shovel near the scene, making no effort to clean or hide it. Additionally, a pair of pruning shears found in a creek 50 meters from the house may have been discarded by Joshua shortly after the attack, though it remains unclear whether they were used in the crime. Forensic analysis later confirmed that the blood on the shovel and in the trash bin belonged to Sherri, reinforcing the theory that Joshua had no elaborate disposal plan. Detectives also searched other areas of the yard and house for signs of cleanup, but found no cleaning chemicals or attempts to erase evidence. The act of placing the body in a trash bin, an item associated with waste, was described by the prosecutor's office as demonstrating a lack of humanity. Joshua's confession was compared to the preliminary autopsy report, which confirmed that Sherri's wounds were consistent with being struck by a heavy object like a shovel. However, detectives noted that Joshua avoided discussing his emotions or the specific reasons for his violent actions. When asked why he attacked his mother, he only responded, "I don't know, it just happened." This vagueness led detectives to suspect he might be concealing his motive or was not fully aware of his actions. While Joshua was being interrogated, the investigation team at the scene continued collecting evidence. They discovered a security camera system mounted on a neighbor's eaves, capturing activity in the backyard. After obtaining a search warrant from a local judge, detectives accessed the footage stored on a hard drive in the neighbor's home. The video, though not publicly detailed, was described as clear in depicting a violent attack, confirming Joshua as the perpetrator. Detectives also examined Joshua's phone found in his pocket during detention. Data from the phone showed no communication with anyone after the estimated time of the crime, around the evening of April 27th. No messages or calls indicated attempts to cover up the act or notify others, further suggesting Joshua had no plan to evade responsibility. As for the motive, sources from the prosecutor's office and local media reported no clear motive has been publicly disclosed. Investigators considered several possibilities based on Joshua's history and family context. Prolonged personal conflict. Joshua's financial and residential dependence on his mother may have led to tension if Sherri imposed boundaries or urged him to become independent. Unstable mental health. Joshua's erratic behavior, such as the 2020 vandalism incident, suggests potential undiagnosed psychological disorders that could have triggered impulsive actions. Sudden triggering event. A specific event, such as an argument over money or Joshua's behavior, may have sparked the attack, though no witnesses or evidence confirm this. At 6:00 p.m. on April 29, 2025, based on evidence from the security footage, the bloodied shovel, and Joshua's initial confession, Detective Ruiz formally charged him with first-degree murder. Joshua was transferred to the Lee County Jail, where he was held in an isolation unit for safety. Notification of the arrest was sent to the Lee County District Attorney's Office, led by David Sullivan, to prepare for the preliminary hearing. He now faces the possibility of spending his life behind bars. After his arrest, Joshua continued to display unusual behavior. At the initial hearing on April 30, 2025, he attempted to waive his right to an attorney and requested to skip to the guilty part. Judge Willie Allen paused the proceedings to ensure Joshua understood that the hearing was only to establish preliminary evidence. After consulting with his appointed attorney, Joshua ceased requesting self-representation, but his behavior suggested he had no intention of contesting or evading responsibility. On May 1, 2025, Joshua appeared before Judge Sandra Mitchell at the Tupelo Municipal Court. During the 20-minute hearing, Prosecutor Sullivan presented preliminary evidence, including the autopsy report and a summary of the security footage. Joshua, represented by Public Defender Edward Price, entered no plea at this stage. Judge Mitchell denied bail, citing the severity of the charge and the risk to the community. Detectives requested a psychological evaluation for Joshua on May 2, 2025 to determine his mental competency to stand trial. The results of this evaluation have not been made public, but could shed light on Joshua's mental state at the time of the crime. While detained at the Lee County Jail, there have been no reports of Joshua attempting to contact the outside world or escape. He has remained cooperative with investigators, though no new details from his statements have been publicly disclosed since the initial interrogation. The case was presented to a grand jury on May 6, 2025, and Joshua remains in custody without bail awaiting trial. The Joshua D. Lazore case is one of the most shocking murders in Tupelo, Mississippi, not only due to its brutality but also because of the mother-son relationship between the perpetrator and victim. From the police receiving the welfare check call on April 29, 2025, to the discovery of Sherri West Lazore's body in the trash bin, and Joshua's immediate arrest at the scene, the case unfolded rapidly but left many questions unanswered. Joshua's confession confirmed his actions, but the true motive remains a mystery potentially to be clarified during the trial. The case is currently pending further trial proceedings. This case is not only a family tragedy but also a reminder of the importance of addressing mental health issues and family conflicts before they escalate into violence. The Tupelo community continues to mourn Sherri, a dedicated educator, while awaiting justice. The case has also raised safety concerns in the Villages, a neighborhood previously considered peaceful. Neighbors expressed horror at the realization that such a crime occurred so close to their homes. Some have called for increased mental health support programs, particularly after Joshua's history of instability became public.